What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I would like to talk about some NFL news and some Atlanta Falcons news. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you'll know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content. Hit that like button for your boy. I appreciate you guys continuing to tune into the channel. I appreciate you helping me hit 500 subscribers. Now let's go ahead and try to reach the new goal, which is 1,000 subscribers and beyond. I appreciate all of the Atlanta Falcons content creators out there who's shared my videos, who's promoted my name. I appreciate you guys for helping me grow my channel. Let's continue to grow the Atlanta Falcons Nation in general. But I appreciate every single one of you guys. I appreciate the Atlanta Falcons family. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So in this video, first thing, I want to talk about some NFL news. It's been a lot of stuff going on this week that I haven't got a chance to weigh in on. I've been extremely busy. But as you know, the NFL season is getting ready to ramp up. So I'm going to have a ton of content for you guys. First thing I want to go ahead and just promote really quick. Definitely check out every Friday night at 8 p.m. Me, Mad Mike Sports, and K-Styles, we do an Atlanta Falcons show every Friday night on Atlanta Falcons Nation channel. It's also shared here on my channel as well. And it is streamed live on Mad Mike Sports channel as well every Friday night at 8 p.m. You definitely don't want to miss it. We chop things up. We talk all things Atlanta Falcons. So you guys definitely want to tune in. We do Q&A sessions. We answer your questions. Whatever questions you have, whether it's about the Falcons or not. But the show is mainly Atlanta Falcons talk. And as you know, the season's, like I said, is getting ready to ramp up. We're going to have a ton of new things coming for you guys. We're going to have some interviews with some NFL players. We're going to, like I said, answer your questions about the season. We're going to break down what our expectations are each week for the game coming up. So you guys definitely want to continue to tune in. I'm going to be starting to do some live videos just by myself. And I'll answer you guys' questions, do some Q&A sessions, and I'll chop things up as I always do. But I appreciate you guys just continuing to support all of the channels and everybody that I'm affiliated with. We appreciate that. But you definitely want to tune in on Friday nights. You don't want to miss it. It's usually from about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to about 9:30 to 10 p.m. So you definitely want to tune in for that hour, 30 minutes to 2 hours. And it's definitely a lot of fun. And you guys definitely want to tune in. But with that being said, as you know, like I said, we're a week away from the NFL season. Kicks off next Thursday. It will be the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending champs, hosting the Houston Texans. Also, if you haven't seen this week, Yannick Ngakoue, former Jacksonville Jaguar, was traded to the Minnesota Vikings. I do think that this is a huge move for Minnesota. I'm not afraid of the Vikings. I think that the Falcons can match up with any team and we can defeat any team if we play our game. And if we come to play, I think we can defend, we can beat anybody in the league. But I do think that the Minnesota Vikings are a threat for the NFC crown. I definitely think that they're a team that you shouldn't take lightly. That move of bringing Yannick Ngakoue in was a huge move for them. They pair him with Danielle Hunter, who's the other defensive end there in Minnesota. Now, they did lose Everson Griffin, who decided to sign with the Dallas Cowboys this offseason. So they had to replace Everson Griffin, and that's why they went out and traded for Yannick Ngakoue. As you know, Mike Zimmer, the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, is a very aggressive defensive mind, one of the best defensive minds in the NFL. And he will know how to use Yannick Ngakoue and get him involved on that defense. They have Harrison Smith over there, Anthony Barr over there, Eric Hendricks. So they have a ton of players that's really, really good. They did lose Linval Joseph, who was one of the staples on that defense at the nose tackle position. He did sign with the Chargers, the LA Chargers. So I think they're going to really miss that presence on the inside. but they're still one of the best defenses in the league over there in Minnesota. And I definitely think that the Falcons are going to have to be ready to play, because we do play them this season. And that's going to be one of the toughest games that's on our schedule this season, going to Minnesota to face those Minnesota Vikings. But with that being said, I do think that was a big move. I do think that Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook and those guys, they do have a great team over there in Minnesota. Though that is one of the teams that I think are going to, could possibly be there in the playoffs. If we may be able to see them in the playoffs. So we definitely have to be prepared. Another big loss for the Minnesota Vikings this year, though, they did lose Stephon Gilmore, who signed, not Stephon Gilmore, Stephon Diggs, the receiver that decided to sign with the Buffalo Bills. So they did lose and gain some great players over there in Minnesota. They still have Adam Thielen, and then they did sign the kid Jefferson. I believe his name is Jefferson, out of LSU. So they do have a quality team over there in Minnesota. They do have a young secondary over there, but they still have one of the better defenses and one of the better teams in the league. So they're definitely a team now that we have to keep our eye on. But with that being said, another big bombshell another bomb that dropped yesterday, Leonard Fournette, who also was on the Jacksonville Jaguars, signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yesterday. So as I put on my Twitter yesterday, I'm not scared of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I do think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be a solid team this season, but I believe that they're going to struggle with chemistry issues. I think that it's going to take them time to figure out the roles of each player on the team. Tom Brady's playing with a whole new cast of players that he has to learn their likes and dislikes. They have to learn how to run routes the way that Tom Brady wants them to run the routes. It's a lot of different things that are involved when you bring in a new veteran quarterback like a Tom Brady, and you're bringing him into a new system. I think a lot of people are underestimating that Tom Brady has been playing in the same system for about 20 years since he was playing with the Pats. He's been coached pretty much by the same offensive coordinator and head coach in Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick, and that plays huge dividends when it comes down to pressure moments, pressure situations where you basically know what to do because you've done it time in and time out, time and time again. He had guys like Julian Edelman, like Wes Welker, like Gronkowski, like Aaron Hernandez, and the list goes on and on of guys that he's had that was reliable, that he could count on, whether they were in the running game or whether they were in his receivers or his tight end. So I really think that those guys over there in Tampa, like Mike Evans and Godwin and all of those guys that they got over there, I really think it's going to take time for those guys to gel. Even with them bringing in Leonard Fournette, I do think that they possibly will be a playoff team. I have them finishing like 9-7, 10-6, so they could squeak in as probably the 5 or 6 seed in the NFC. I do think that all three NFC South teams, the Saints, the Falcons, and the Buccaneers, I think all three of them have a chance to make the playoffs this season because, to me, we play in one of the toughest divisions in football. The only team I've kind of written off is the Carolina Panthers, and it's just for the mere fact that they lost their head coach, and they basically have clean house. They traded Cam Newton, or basically just released Cam Newton. So I really think that they're going to struggle just because all they really have over there is Christian McCaffrey. As you know, Luke Kuechly retired, who was basically the captain of that defense. So it's a whole bunch of new faces over there in Carolina. So I really don't think Carolina's going to make any noise this season. But the other two teams in the division, the Bucs and the Saints, I think both are trying to build, contending teams. But as I said, I think early on in the season, I do think Tom Brady is going to struggle and the Buccaneers are going to struggle. It's going to take them time to figure out the formula to win games over there. I really think that the Falcons are going to get off to a fast start, and we're going to be able to take advantage of getting off to that early fast start. And I do think that we'll end up winning the division. But with the signing of Leonard Fournette, I think it's a big signing for them because he's a physical running back, and you need those physical style running backs especially when it comes down to the playoff time, when it starts to get cold outside in December and January. You want to have those bigger running backs that can take, the pressure off of the offensive line, having to block, pass block all of the time. So I really think that that's going to be big. And also, I think it's going to help out Tom Brady from having to throw the ball 50 plus times a game like he was doing sometimes in New England. So I really think that, Leonard Fournette signing with them is a good signing for them as well. Tampa Bay is also a team that can contend in the NFC, but I really think that they're going to struggle early on. I think they're going to struggle a little bit more than a team like Minnesota, who's kind of kept their team intact for the most part and have just added a couple of complementary pieces, but not like a main piece, like a quarterback or, a running back. They pretty much have the same core unit there. So I really think that those two teams are teams that could contend and give the Falcons a run for their money in the NFC. Another thing that I've seen happened yesterday, Mohamed Sanu, former Atlanta Falcons receiver, actually was released by the Patriots. And I said this before, we definitely fleeced the Patriots with trading for Mohamed Sanu. They traded us a second-round pick, which we actually used to bring in Hayden Hurst. So it definitely helped us out. I think we stole a draft pick from New England. And anytime we can do anything to take a chink out of New England's armor or put a chink in their armor, I definitely love when we do that, especially after what they did to us in the Super Bowl and just all of the cheating and scandals that New England has had. I can't stand the New England. I can't stand the Patriots. So I'm glad that we were able to stick it to them. And Mohamed Sanu didn't work out for them. He just didn't really fit their scheme over there. I've been hearing things or rumblings of the fan base wondering, should the Falcons bring Mohamed Sanu back? Personally, I'm going to give you kind of the pros and the cons of both. I wouldn't mind having Mohamed Sanu back. Mohamed Sanu is one of my favorite Atlanta Falcons players or wide receivers to ever play for the Falcons. I loved his swagger. He had the cleats. He had all of the, nice design cleats. And he has that swagger about himself. He always was coming up with his own lingo, the bean talk, and, all of his clothing line. I just think that Mohamed Sanu was one of those guys that was a very confident player. One of those guys that was a bigger body type receiver, like a Julio Jones, 6'2", 6'3", physical. And one thing that I think that could benefit if we did bring Mohamed Sanu back to the team is his ability to block down the field in the run game and his ability to block in the pass game. He had some crucial blocks for us. The one I vividly remember was last season against the Eagles when he sprung Julio Jones on that screenplay, which ended up defeating the Eagles, which was the game-winning touchdown, when him and Jake Matthews pulled off the line and they blocked down on those corners. It was Mohamed Sanu and Jake Matthews with the two great blocks to spring Julio Jones for that touchdown. So I definitely think that if we brought Mohamed Sanu back to the Falcons, he could definitely add some value when it comes to blocking in the blocking game, because if you notice, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, those guys are smaller, speedy type receivers. Zacchaeus, those guys are not, bigger receivers. Now, Laquan Treadwell, he is one of those guys that's bigger. He goes about 6'2", 6'3", kind of like a Mohamed Sanu, but we really don't know what we have in Laquan Treadwell. So I wouldn't be opposed to bringing back Mohamed Sanu at the right price. From what I understand, he didn't leave on a bad note, so that could bode well for him if he does want to come back and play for the Falcons. Like I said, you can never have enough weapons on offense or defense. And Mohamed Sanu would definitely be a good backup player if somebody were to go down with injury. I don't think that if he comes back, he would actually be a starter, because Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage kind of have, spread their wings a little bit, and they're kind of started to develop, especially Russell Gage. When Mohamed Sanu left last season, those guys begin to develop, especially Russell Gage. He really came out of his shell, and he started to get more snaps, not just in special teams, but on the offensive side of the ball. So I definitely think if Mohamed Sanu came back it would kind of be on the Falcons' terms. It wouldn't be on his terms, meaning he wouldn't be able to tell the Falcons that he wants to be a starter, or he wouldn't be able to basically to demand anything at this point, being that he was kind of released, by the Patriots. So I definitely think that it could be a value, he could be a valuable asset to bring back on the team because he was a great team leader when he was here. He was a great complement to Julio Jones. To me, he was one of those bigger body guys on third down when you could put him in the slot and he could use his bigger body frame to basically box out smaller defenders like third string nickel corners and stuff like that. He was able to take advantage of his size. And I really think that the Falcons kind of missed that last season when he left, even though Russell Gage performed well in his absence. So I definitely think that it's not off the table to bring Mohamed Sanu back. A reason that I wouldn't bring him back is just for the mere fact that you want the guys that are developing to continue to develop. You don't want to stunt their growth. And sometimes when you bring in a veteran player, you feel obligated to play them. And this could affect the growth of the younger receivers that we have, like a Russell Gage, and those other guys, Russell Gage, Zacchaeus, Chris Rowland, those guys, he could really come in and stunt their growth if we were to bring Mohamed Sanu back. So that's the reason I think that they probably won't bring him back. I do think it's a small chance he could come back because, like I said, I do think that he left Atlanta on good terms. It was just they kind of wanted the draft pick, and we were 1-7, and the team was kind of like spiraling. So I think they were just kind of like, let's see what we can get for him, and it kind of, panned out where New England, overbid it for him. So, it was kind of like, a overpriced situation. So New England kind of bought high, and the Falcons just took advantage of that. So we definitely fleeced New England with that trade. But like I was saying, I wouldn't mind having Mohamed Sanu back. He is a guy that's a possession receiver. He's not going to beat you with his speed. He can run great routes. He does run great routes, but he doesn't get a lot of separation on his routes. He's one of those bigger body guys, kind of like a Dez Bryant, one of those physical receivers. But I definitely think that it's a possibility, that the Falcons may look at bringing him back. He would be definitely good to have on the bench just in case somebody got injured or something like that, where he possibly could move back into the top 3 rotation. But I definitely think it would be nice to have Mohamed Sanu back. If he wants to come back to the team at the right price, I definitely could see the Falcons re-signing him. But if we didn't re-sign him, I'm good with what we currently have as well. So you just never know. But I definitely think that it could be a possibility where Mohamed Sanu could come back to the team. And what I think he brings is that veteran presence. He will be able to help these younger guys like Zacchaeus and Russell Gage continue to develop. But with that being said, you guys let me know what you think in the comment section about the video. Would you like to have Mohamed Sanu back? Comment below. Let me know what you think about the Minnesota Vikings and them signing Yannick Ngakoue. Also, let me know what you think about the Jacksonville Jaguars releasing Leonard Fournette and him signing with the Buccaneers. Like I was saying before, I'm not afraid of those guys. I think that the Falcons, we're an extremely deep team this year, and I really think that we're going to put, shock the world. I think we're going to put the league on notice in the first couple weeks of the season. But with that being said, this has been your boy Jew. I'll holler at you guys in the next video. And as always, Falcons Nation, rise up. Peace.